begin with a moment of silence for the following. Joyce Barletta, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. Mary Lee, a graduate of the North Syracuse District. John Kowalski, a graduate of the North Syracuse. Thank you very much. Hey, to continue the Christmas tradition, I think we lost for a little bit. It's back. We're going to have a little entertainment. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Good evening, everyone. And my name is John Harnois, and I'm the director of the CNS High School Orchestra. And we have some students with us this evening, and they're going to play some holiday selections for you. And I will let our first violin announce the tunes as we go along. Very good. We got one more for you. I'm gonna actually conduct this one. It's the most wonderful time of the year. I've got a fun fact for you about this. One of the composers of this song also wrote the theme song to Gilligan's Island. Thank you very much. As much as the company called Staples tried to ruin this song for me many years ago when they used it in their back to school commercial, these guys give me reason to make it back into one of my favorites again. So thank you guys. Nice job. I'd like to introduce everyone. First, we'll start on this end and we'll go around. So Leo Chung is a senior violin player. He's in our Tri-M Music Honor Society. He's been in area all-state and in all-county orchestras. He's a member of our chamber and pops orchestra. And for college, he's undecided at the moment, but he's wanting to major in engineering. And next to him, Landon Empey, senior violin. He's also undecided and also wants to go into engineering. He's also involved in cross-country, track, and lacrosse at CNS. Billy Biro, junior viola, excuse me, oh my gosh, excuse me. Don't ever tell a viola player, I can't even say it. You get my drift. Anyway, junior viola player. She's in our Triumph Music Honor Society, and she's also been a member of the Syracuse Youth String Orchestra. Lily Misko is a senior viola player. She is also in Triumph. She's our historian. She has been and is a member of area all-state and all-county orchestras. She wants to major in biological sciences with a nod towards pre-med. And she's also a member of our chamber and pops orchestra. Gabby M., junior cello player. She is in pops and chamber, and someday she wants to major in psychology. And she's also a member of Triumph Music Honor Society. Hanifa Wahab, senior cello. She's in pops and chamber. She's also in Triumph as a treasurer. She's also in all county orchestra, and she would like to major in human biology with pre-med and eventually leading towards being a pediatrician, which she's going to be awesome at. I can tell right now. And then we have this thing about his last name, Aiden Hannes. I get it right? I've been saying it wrong for a gazillion years, so I'm just learning how to say it right for the first time. Senior bass player who will not stop growing. He keeps getting taller and taller. He has actually just been accepted into the Berklee College of Music in Boston, where he wants to major. Yeah. Wants to major in music composition. He's a member of just about everything you can possibly imagine. Pops Chamber Orchestra, Area All-State Orchestra, All-County Orchestra, All-County Jazz, All-County Band, All-State Jazz Alternate this year. And he's also the vice president of Triumph Music Honor Society. So we thank you very much for inviting us here to play for you, and hope that you all have a wonderful and safe, happy holiday season. Thank you.
That was George Weil, right? All right, it's the Gilligan's Island trivia. All right. Do we need a violin or viola for background on any of the presentations or no? Got a couple engineers for you coming up.
Thank you, Mr. Harnoy.
We're gonna go right to Mr. Keegan with the capital project update to probably turn it over to our King and King folks.
Yeah, I'm going to turn it over to Matt Irwin and the team from King and King and Watchdog.
So I'll just take a quick minute, just to introduce the team again. Bob Buffio with Watchdog, our construction management firm. Amanda Thomas and Kirk Narberg with King and King Architects. Team's been doing a great job. We've got a lot of work in the queue. They're going to go over for you. The buildings have been super cooperative. I can't ask for better relations with our teachers and with our students. Things are going very, very smoothly. So I really appreciate their cooperation. And Bob, I'll let you take it from there.
Okay, we'll start off with the high school renovations. Well, okay. So this is the HVAC upgrades. We've been working on this project for approximately about a year now. Upgrades to the system and the crawl space throughout the winter and summer months of 2024. The AC will be operational limited during this summer coming up in 2024. Area A has been completed and we are now moving into Area C, which is one of the last areas. Lead times on equipment has put us behind from the start, but we've made up a significant amount of time. What is the goal is to finish on schedule, and I think that's a realistic goal. I can just go over
Be the
the
first slide.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely blame it on Bob. Back.
Renovations be all the way back.
There we go. Yay.
Hey, this is the project that we just started a couple weeks ago. Started with a demo in the auditorium and the gym will be next. Special removal on here says 12/18 to start, but we actually got about a week head start on that and we started it last week. So the auditorium removals are almost completed at this time. By the end of this week, they'll be completed. Rest of the areas are the locker rooms and crawl space. The whole project completion date is August of 2025. Boiler replacement has been completed. Cicero Elementary School. Just a few punch list items remaining. Started the closeout phase. Junior high school chiller replacement is in the same area here, projected to be or has been completed, and it's in the closeout phase.
If you can just leave it there for a second. I just want to point out, if you all remember, this was the emergency project that was done in record time on, a great group team effort to get this to a contractor, to get the equipment ordered and to get this all done for this heating season. So it was a monumental effort and well done by all.
Okay. So Bob just went over all of the projects that you currently have in construction, which has been a great effort to get to this point. So now we have in the fall, we went through a bunch of projects that were in design. So these are all your projects that currently sit at SED. So it's a pretty good list. So the first one on that list is Lakeshore Elementary renovations, which we presented a little bit last time. So that's renovating half of Lakeshore Elementary. The next one is the St. Margaret's School lease review. That is in tandem with Lakeshore so that they have a place to move while those renovations are going on. After that, we have the Main Street roof replacement. This was part of the safety and security project, which was your last vote. This was accelerated ahead of schedule just because it's really in need of replacement due to leaking and things like that. So we accelerated that one piece just to get that at SED so we could get that into construction as quickly as possible. The next one is the CNS greenhouse roof. This was your 324 capital outlay project. It's just the glass roof structure of that greenhouse. So that one is probably the closest to being back from SED because they go through the faster than the other ones. So we'll get that out to bid as Kirk will talk about in early January. And then you have your CNS phase 3 pool addition, which you see in the slide in the background there. That was also submitted to SED. And then finally, the energy performance contract. So those are all of the projects that you currently have sitting in the queue at SED. We are seeing review times creep out a little bit more, but we still expect that you will have most of those back from SED in February and March. The most important being Lakeshore Elementary because we have to hit that summer construction season. And then the next thing we wanted to share with you is while Lakeshore was at SED, we did some final renderings of the exterior of Lakeshore. We wanted to share those with you tonight. The top image is actually the new front elevation of the parent drop-off. So sort of that blue angled piece that you see in the front is where visitors will go into a new secure entry. And then you also see the front of that building, which is actually where it says Lakeshore Road, Elementary, similar to Bear Road. A nice feature wall, but that's actually a boiler room behind there and a kitchen. So there's not a lot we could do with windows and such. So I think, that makes a nice accent wall, similar to Bear Road. At the bottom left, you see just a close-up view of that new secure entry. And then the bottom right, there's actually a student entry as well, a bus entry that is actually on the other side of that feature wall. So it kind of gives you the aesthetic of that's being designed for that project.
All right, so on top of this, the items that we have and the projects that are down in SED, we've also got all the work that's still in design. So as Amanda pointed out, part of the lease program that's sitting for St. Margaret's down at SED right now for approval is the ongoing design work that we need to do so that the district can implement those repairs, which are all just requirements for occupying that building according to the state education rules. We also have the junior high emergency fire alarm project that's going to go to bid earlier. This is similar to the roof project at Main Street that we had to accelerate it because we're at the last legs of being able to keep that system operational because of lack of parts and accelerated that piece. We've got the district-wide safety and security project that's going to go in SED early next year. And then the Cicero Elementary renovations follow in the fall of 24. We've also started the work on the Gillette Road Middle School project. I know it's tough from your vantage point to keep track of all these. That's why we have a great team that's on top of that because we're constantly talking about all these items bi-weekly so that everybody's on the same page. You only get to see it every, 6 or 8 weeks from us. So just, trust all this stuff is still following the same schedule that we keep laying out. It's a lot to keep track of, but you got a great team that's working on that. So Gillette Road will go in the SED in the fall.
Just a quick update too, coming into the new year, 2025, we are due for our next building condition survey. So we'll be repeating the whole process again. And I'll let just Amanda finish up with what's up next.
That's okay. I know you like Amanda better. One other thing I want to point out, because Matt brought up about the building condition survey. So you probably heard that the governor signed the School Safety Security Act in October, mid-October. I'm actually part of an architectural task force that's been charged with helping SED figure out how to monitor and assess school buildings as part of that Safety and Security Act. The great thing is we've already done it. So North Syracuse is going to be in great shape, hence the Safety and Security Project. So much of what will be part of the next building condition survey in New York State will be adding that component of every district and having a requirement that every district do an assessment on the safety security side of things every 5 years as part of the BCS. So you're ahead of that curve. And so that's a great place to be. So up next, the big items that are upcoming obviously is getting Lakeshore Elementary out to bid, and also the Main Street project as well as the pool, which will all happen in the spring. And then a sequence of events will follow that in terms of the phasing of that work, because these are all like puzzle pieces that have to fit in together with, especially at the high school. We have so much work going on there right now. There's only so many overlaps of different contractors that we can have working in the same area at the same time. We've got it all mapped out, and we're keeping an eye on schedules so that we can make sure all these things dovetail together. Questions?
Like we have any, all right. Thank
Great.
you.
All right.
Thank you.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, we can move right in when you're ready, Mr. Keegan, with the budget assumptions.
So to give this a proper introduction, it's hard to believe we're already talking about the 24-25 school year budget. I said earlier today that I feel like I'm just getting the 23-24 year, under my belt, and in terms of, feeling like we're on top of things, and we're ready for 24-25. So as you guys know, at the beginning of every budget season, we take the time to review some basic assumptions. And what we're going to talk about today, I think, is this skipping the same thing, Jill, like every other? Oh, there's the agenda. Okay, so we're going to talk about economic factors. We're going to talk about enrollment, revenue assumptions and expenditure assumptions, and I'll give you a little update on fund balance and reserves. And then we'll talk about our budget priorities and timeline. So here are some key factors that are going to impact the budget. And many of these things are things but I think it's important to keep these in the top of our mind as we work through the budget. We're operating in an inflationary environment, and due to the tax cap, we can't pass on that inflation completely to our taxpayers. And so I'll have a slide that'll tell a little more information about that. The labor market's extremely tight. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. There's not enough people to fill positions in public education, and we're really feeling that. And it's going to be a factor as we put our plan together next year. Our enrollment continues to decline, and we believe that enrollment might level off when the Micron facility opens. And we'll look forward to hearing more about that with the conclusion of our demographic study. We will not have federal stimulus aid next year. That finishes up at the end of this school year. We'll have a little bit of money to run summer programming. So technically ARP ends in September of 24, and that money will be used to run some summer programming, but we're going to lose $2.7 million in ARP funding. The numerous labor contracts will be negotiated this year, and as a result, it's going to reflect, our budget's going to reflect some newly negotiated salaries and wages. Our students still have academic gaps resulting from the pandemic, and some social emotional issues continue to impact our student behavior. And again, we'll want to consider that in the budget. So let's talk about inflation. So inflation, our tax levy, you've heard everybody refer to the tax cap as the 2% tax cap. Well, that's based on the primary driver of the tax cap is this thing called the allowable levy growth factor. And it cannot increase the tax levy by more than 2% or inflation, whichever's less. And so we look at inflation for all items, and I'll have a chart here in a moment that'll show you, but inflation for the 12 months ended October 2023 is up 3.2%. Now that's pretty good considering where we've been the last several years, but still our allowable growth levy growth factor will only be able to go up 2%, and that's 1.2% less than inflation. So things we look at, obviously all items is the 3.2%, 3.3 is for food. We've actually seen energy prices come down, and that's good. That's fuel and our heating costs. And I'll talk more about our heating in a moment, heating and cooling. And all items less energy and food are up 4%. But just thinking about the New York State budget, we know that the Division of Budget has told us that they estimate a budget deficit this year. But at the same time, the governor and the legislature is telegraphing pretty strongly that they're not going to roll back the new investments they've made foundation aid, and that's a great relief, because for those of you that have been around and watched this story for a while, we had a thing called the gap elimination adjustment. That was basically, here's your foundation aid, but we can't really afford it, so we're going to take some of the money back, and it was very confusing to everybody. But so we're thrilled that the legislature and the governor are committed to keeping our foundation aid fully funded. The Division of Budget is saying that they're going to grow aid by 3% or slightly higher, hoping for the slightly higher. And although the we have to keep in mind that the state's economic and employment growth is expected to slow. And it's impacted by high interest rates. And that continues to affect not only us in the fact that we get more interest income with higher interest rates, but we pay higher interest rates for projects like our capital projects. So local business activity definitely is something to consider. And, we consider unemployment and our enrollment and other factors that impact our tax base. Consistent with the national and state economy, Central New York's economy has definitely prospered since the end of COVID, despite the economic environment. We're seeing a significant amount of activity around Micron, but I just want to say that I don't think our budget is going to be impacted in any way by Micron in 24-25. As I mentioned earlier, the labor market's pretty tight, and we're definitely experiencing things like substitute shortages. And we see limited amounts of new housing in our northern part of our district, which is a good sign in terms of growth and opportunities for families to move into the district. And we always have tax certiorari cases happening. It's a constant situation. Tax certiorari is where a property owner contests the value of their property. And it's interesting, though, in this environment, assessments can't keep up with market value. So I expect that we're going to see a slowdown in tax certiorari cases just because property values are growing at such a significant rate above and beyond what the assessors have them assessed at. Just touching on local unemployment, Syracuse metropolitan area is 3.5%, and our three towns are less than that, Cicero, Clay, and Salina. And I keep harping on this unemployment, but full employment is basically about 4.1% of unemployment. So, we're at a point now where people that are coming and taking jobs are people that are often employed somewhere else. They're not unemployed. They're coming from one employer to another. That has just created a very competitive workforce. And so we've just got to keep that in mind as we move through our planning process. This is just a quick chart on our enrollment trend. Continues to decline. The blue line talks about our free and reduced lunch rates, and they continue to increase. We're very, very thankful to have the CEP program that allows us to provide free meals to students. But the economic status of our families is definitely something to keep in mind, particularly as we look at our tax levy and what the response might be. Slight increase in students with disabilities, as well as our ELL English language learner population. On the revenue side, I've already mentioned this, that, it's positive that the state's committed to fully funding foundation aid, and that they're looking at a 3% increase in aid. That's awesome. Real property taxes, again, we're going to be capped at the levy. The only issue there that we've mentioned to the board, I think in a recent communication, is that they're possibly looking at changing the way the tax base growth factor is impacted. And that's a consideration in the tax calculation that allows us to increase the tax levy by the amount in which the tax base grows, on the basis that schools have to service that tax base. And so there's legislation in front of the governor right now that might allow for a small increase there, but otherwise we're looking at a tax cap that's going to be driven by 2%. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we're losing the federal stimulus money, and that's certainly a negative. Health benefits, we just had a health oversight meeting today, and we planned on them increasing about 10% going into this year, and that's where we're trending right now. SHRM is saying that it'll be about 7% for next year. TRS and ERS, again, very well managed pension funds, looking at a slight increase in our pension cost. Salaries and wages are going to be subject to our contract negotiations. Fuel, we're fortunate to have fuel prices have decreased recently. And energy costs, we use the New York State Municipal Energy Consortium. We're a member of that, and we sign up for 3-year agreements for our natural gas and electric. Our current agreement ends in May of 24, and we've done very well with that agreement. We were able to lock in rates that were very favorable. And we anticipate that both electric and gas rates will increase due to the changes in the market since our last agreement. And we'll keep you posted on that as we know more. Bidding will start within the next month. So switching gears, those are some, again, very, very basic assumptions about the business plan going into next year. But one of the things we always look at is how's the financial health of the district? And that's measured by our savings account, our fund balance. And we ended the year last year with about 3.93% of our budget in fund balance. As you remember, we put some funds toward a chiller project that is committing some of that fund balance. So we're looking at ending the year at about 3.96% of our current year's budget. And so again, we're assuming right at this stage of the game that we're not aware of any unfavorable or favorable variances that will impact the 23-24 spending at this point, and we'll keep you updated on that as we move through the planning process. But we have a fund balance that approximates the state's recommendation for school district fund balances. Our reserves, we've worked hard to build up our reserves for liabilities that the district has, tax certiorari, workman's compensation. We have a small general liability reserve, capital reserve for future projects, and ERS and TRS reserves, as well as an employee benefit liability reserve. Just keep in mind that all these reserves are for known liabilities that the district has and will need to fund. So it's good that we have these funds in place, and we anticipate a small increase in these funds due to the fact that our reserves are in fact collecting interest due to the higher interest rates. Finally, we have a debt service fund balance, and that fund balance is anytime we sell, if we finish a project and we come in under budget and we've already borrowed the money, it goes into a debt service reserve to pay down debt. If we end up issuing a debt at a premium, that's where if we issue a $1,000 note and we sell it for $1,001, and you might say, well, how do you do that? Well, we sell notes above, we sell the notes at a higher price than their face value when the interest rate of the note is attractive to the market. And so that happens to us sometimes. And so we accumulate funds, and we can either use those funds to pay down debt or ask the voters to approve the use of those funds toward projects and whatnot. So we're in good shape with our reserves. And again, we'll keep you updated on that as we get through the budget process. So budget priorities, and I'm not sure whether Dan or Chris want to jump in here, but these are very similar to what we had last year. Again, leading with implementing strategies that allow us to attract and retain the best people. We are a people-based business. The most important thing we do is put adults in front of children, and so that's got to be top of our list to make sure that we're taking care of our people and retaining our people. We also are making sure that our initiatives in the plan are aligned with our strategic plan. And these are the things that we've been talking about: cultural competency, student support systems, professional learning, increasing our graduation rate, reading proficiency, and emotional competency. And so those are going to be drivers. When people come to us with new initiatives, we're always asking, how does it correlate to our strategic plan? And then we'll continue our ongoing efforts to address learning challenges resulting from the pandemic. Focusing on social emotional well-being of our students. And then activities to prepare for career pathways. Those are our priorities as we move into the budget timeline. The board approved the budget calendar on the 10th. We've already been scheduled our meetings with our principals to review their building budgets. And we've got our directors working on their BOCES budgets. We've shared tonight the budget assumptions. We'll look forward to the governor coming out with her governor's proposal for the state budget mid to third week of January, and we'll present that to the board on February 5th. And then we'll move through the process with a goal of having an initial budget to the board by February 26th, and leaving plenty of time to deliberate the budget before the board has to adopt it on April 17th. Leading up to a May 21st budget vote. Any questions or comments on those assumptions? Bob, sorry.
last Thursday at our OCM BOCES school board meeting, Dr. Cook talked about that ARP money. How much money do we still have left, and are we going to have any problem spending it? He said a lot of school districts in this area, he didn't think North Syracuse was one of them, but they need to get busy on, because, yeah, spending it down, because it will not be, you will not be allowed. Yes.
One thing I'm just super proud of is that, we deployed those funds to make sure that we were trying to address the gaps, the academic gaps and the social emotional needs of our students. So, we'll be in a situation, we'll spend every penny, and we're gonna make sure that we've deployed those funds to benefit our kids. Paul, I'm sorry, did you have a question as well? No. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. In the comment section from the audience, again, the Board of Education meetings are meetings in public, and we welcome members of the public to attend and observe and comments on matters related to the district. We only have one. I'm going to kind of paraphrase this and move on to where we're going to have a 3-minute limit for our one speaker that we have tonight. And I'll just remind you that issues involving particular students or employees are not permissible topics during the public meeting, and the employer or student concerns should be addressed to the superintendent of schools during regular business hours. So that I'm going to say that still here to comment on ES sport. Have you come up, and when you're ready? Thank you. All of them.
Well, which mic do you want me to use? This mic? Doesn't matter. All right, I'll use this one. That way I don't have to hold anything. Okay. Hi, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Catherine Leo, and I teach at our high school. I'm also one of the esports coaches. I was here a few weeks ago to share information about our season, and I thought I'd bring you an update. So last time I spoke, we were about to enter playoffs. Playoffs are over. The results are quite impressive. First, our Super Smash Brothers Ultimate teams. That's the Mario-based fighting game. Our second team went down fighting to Middletown High School, but considering Middletown was 3rd ranked in the league and went on to the finals match, I think we did pretty well holding our own. Our team one soared through rounds 1 and 2, taking down two teams from Ramapo High School, which is on the border between New York and Pennsylvania, near New Jersey. We then faced our hometown rivals, West Jenny, in round 3. Somebody we kind of struggled against all year. They're very good over there. And unfortunately, our season came to an end with a 2-3 loss. But a fun fact there is one of our seniors, Reese Balduzzi, had a completely undefeated season. Like nobody could beat him specifically. It was great. Mario Kart's a little more thrilling. Playoffs began with an easy win for both of our teams, sailing past Mount Sinai and West Genesee in round 1, which led to our teams playing each other in the semifinal match, which was really, really fun. We had a whole bunch of friends and family come out. We set up boards in the library. We did like this whole thing for it. It was great. Team 1 defended their undefeated streak and moved into the finals against Silver Creek High School, which was last Thursday. So you've probably seen the article spoiling my ending, but I'm going to explain it to you anyways, because it was very, very fun. Our games are usually a best of 3. So we play a best 2 out of 3. And so we went in and we lost the first match and we're like, all right, we have one more. And then we lost the second match and we were like, you know what? It's fine. We made it to the finals. We did pretty well. We accepted defeat. And then the other coach comes in the chat and goes, finals are best of 5. We have another game to play. So we came back from a 0-2 loss. It was great. So the 3rd round ended in a tie. So we had to win the tiebreaker, which we did. The 4th round, they started to really pull ahead, working together with strategy and everything. So one kid, Reese, was leading the charge while Zach was being what we call a bagger, which is when he hangs back to get better items to then win the races more. So they started pulling ahead and we won by 11 points. So we had clawed our way back. We're tied 2-2. We go into the last round. After the race 4, there are 6 races. After the 4th race, we're down by 9 points. Doable. Race 5 ends, we're up by 5 points. So we go into the 6th race. They had everything lined up. That score came up 119 to 115 and the entire room just exploded. I don't think I've ever heard of a room louder than I did. when everybody was jumping up and down and cheering for that. It's been 4 days and I'm still riding that high. It's great. So ultimately, I want to thank everybody who was involved, friends and family who came to support us. Jason Clark was there watching the whole thing. So him and TJ Adams helping getting the program going. I want to thank Lori for getting the news out. We had interviews come and we had things in the news. Superintendent Bowles for his words in the North Star Lights. Loved seeing that this morning when I came in. And just the district as a whole for this opportunity. It's probably my favorite part of my job. And I really, really love coaching these kids. So yeah, our spring season starts in February and hopefully we can defend our title.
Much. Okay, Board of Ed committee reports.
We met on December 6th. So I want to follow up on what Don talked about. He did an awesome job on the 6th, an adjustment to the property tax law, which is Senate Bill 1045 and Assembly Bill 1567. We have been getting emails from the New York School Boards Association. So your homework assignment, please, people, is, I believe it's on the governor's desk, is to go in. It's very easy to do when you get it from the New York School Boards Association, and let the governor know how you feel. This will affect our budget, okay? Our governor, wonderful governor, but sometimes she leaves things on her desk and doesn't sign them, pocket veto. So I'd ask you to do that. It's very important that you get involved and do that. Two things that are coming up. Paul and I always go to what is called the Capitol Conference, which is February 2nd. This is by virtual. It starts 8 in the morning and goes to about 1, but they give you breaks, thank goodness, because I have coffee and I have to have breaks. It's a really good conference. I would like to see more of you go to it, in that you meet the commissioner, you meet the chancellor, you hear the New York School Boards Association projections on the budget, and then you actually get to hear some of the governor's people. It's an excellent conference. And then today, we were notified that the Central New York School Boards Association, Mike will like this, will be February 3rd, and I believe it's in person at OCM BOCES, and we'll have a good breakfast. And that's where, Thomas, I'd like you to go to that, is where we meet our legislators and really talk about the budget. So please put those 2 dates on your calendar, the 2nd and the 3rd. Oh, it's early in the morning. It's over.
Their
It's-
email should have gone out to every.
And it's, oh, yeah,
Board
it,
member from-
it just came out today. And you, Jill will send something else because you do have to register for that. And the Capitol Conference, you'll get something, you have to register for that, but it's free.
8 o'clock.
And is there anything, Paul, that you want to add, or Matt, to our committee report?
No, I don't have anything to add. That's. BOCES report, you sent that to us today, I believe.
Yep, real quickly, again, if you have any questions or concerns, please let me know and I'll try to do the best. Each year, we have what is called an administrative council holiday dinner. And so we entertain all the administrators, principals, cabinet and everything to a wonderful holiday dinner served to us. Oh, well, it's made by our students, and there was a CNS student that poured my coffee. It was great. And it was the best meal we ever had. So it's a wonderful time to support our administrators who work with Dan and work with Chris during the year. We had a presentation on the Central New York RIC. Number one thing was security, which I knew that would probably be the number one thing, but it was a really good presentation on how we help not just OCM BOCES, but we help about 5 or 6 other BOCES. If you want to go in, if you get bored again, Deputy Superintendent Colleen Vigiana always does a report. and she did a report on our visit to Thompson Road. I got to get you to smile.
I don't know. Is there a
You were
picture?
very into the whatever the students were doing, but I got to get you to smile. But anyway, it came up at our meeting the other night, and how impressed the administrators of BOCES were with you, Tom, and how you asked questions, but also you always said thank you to the teachers and so forth. So it made I like it when North Syracuse is mentioned, and that's it. On BOCES.
You. And it bowls.
Okay, a little, might be a little lengthy, but bear with me. I just want to just go back. You saw the orchestra here, and as you can see from the high quality of the performance, our students are extremely talented. Not only musically inclined, but academically based on what you heard as far as their aspirations. So we like to showcase some of our best and brightest at our board meetings. I want to again congratulate our New York State champions e-sport team, Star Shockers, Reese Balducci, James Pearson, Zach Parcell, and Zach Strait, with Mike Bryson and Catherine Leo leading the way. So you can see the passion that everyone has, and clearly reflected in the performances of all. So thank you. Last Friday, I had the opportunity with Executive Principal Jamie Sullivan to go to City Hall, and Senator Mannion recognized 3 of our students, and our student representative on the board, Thomas Wills, was one of them. And again, making sure that we recognize the students for all their accomplishments. So that was a nice occasion. Don't know if all of you, but a few of you were present at our spelling bee. And at our spelling bee, we had a 5th grader first, and Matthew Connor, 6th grader, Hayden Toddy, and then Isaac Butterfield was a 5th grader, came 1, 2, and 3 at our spelling bee, again, showcasing some of our best and brightest students. Also, some of the things that are happening when you look at either the North Star Weekly, but our boys swim team, they went the extra mile, and they packed hot cocoa for families for Griffin's Guardians to celebrate Hot Cocoa Day at the hospital. So not only are they doing things athletically, but trying to make sure we're showing students how to give back to their communities. We've had a number of activities. Our boys basketball team was doing well, but they ran into a difficult game and went to overtime this past Friday night. They ended up losing to Liverpool 63-60. Our boys wrestling team have really done well and remain undefeated with a dominant victory over West Jenny. And then the North Stars are 11-0, and they travel to Liverpool this coming Wednesday. Also have the boys and girls bowling. I have swept Liverpool 7-0. We have our boys hockey team who were in a tie with IHC. And we also had our girls wrestling, but they fell to Fulton. But again, they are continuing to challenge themselves and be out there. And I am so proud of the work that they're doing. So some of the things that are going on in our district, we should be proud of all of our students. And I think that's all I have.
Other Board of Ed members with comments today? Button.
Yeah, I'll go ahead. So I wanted to comment on a couple of the things that Dan talked about. In light of, as I'm sure many of you know, there's going to be a new STEAM school here in Onondaga County, and there's a lot of things in education that are looking at kind of expanding the way in which we are giving a traditional education, right? And it's very exciting to see that the STEAM school is going to be coming here, but to me it's equally exciting, if not more exciting, to see that our school district is leading the charge in a lot of ways, with the wide range of opportunities that we're offering our kids. And we saw a lot of the successes today with the sports team, which again, congratulations. Having some of our folks from the orchestra So I just wanted to say thank you to the administrators, the staff and everybody, because we're in a situation where we really can be at the forefront in this area and throughout the state and beyond. So thank you and keep it up.
Thank you.
You know, Joe said I could have 6 minutes because last time I unfortunately wasn't here. I just am thrilled with Dan Bowles and his team on the news that we get. I mean, look at that. She said when she came in today, she read all about the team and read about all the wonderful things that school district has done. And when I go to BOCES, I hear about North Syracuse, and it makes me proud that I sit there and hear about our school district. All right, that doesn't count. That didn't start the timer. So let's talk about some of the things I went to, but also some things coming up that you may want to go to. There was an orchestra concert. As you know, we have it over to the junior high now, and it was a combined junior high and high school, and outstanding orchestras that we have at both the junior high and high school. And I was impressed that Daryl Redmond, our director of fine arts, even played in the junior high orchestra. And it's very impressive that he comes to all the events. And you've seen him, I believe, the last 3 weeks being here. A band concert was last week. Same thing with the bands from the junior high and high school. And then I would invite you on Wednesday, this Wednesday at 7 o'clock, the vocal concert. So it will be both the junior high and high school. These students have worked all during the fall to present to you. Just phenomenal. Spelling bee already talked about, but it's great to see a former teacher, Bill Bradley, an English teacher that was the pronouncer, and he just enjoys doing that every year. Bill Anderson Memorial Wrestling Tournament. I wasn't here 2 weeks ago, but first time ever that our girls participated, and they were very, very good. Junior high honor roll breakfast that Paul and I went to. I never can just go to a breakfast. I have to walk around, and I was invited by the tech people to see the equipment, Don, that they have received, high-class equipment. And they said Jason Clark has led them to get that equipment. And you've heard Jason Clark's name again today. Another person that has come to this district and added so much and will lead us with the Micron and so forth. Okay, something that I am involved in, and so I'm going to do a little bit with this. Jill, I'm only on 4, is the Cicero High School Optimist Club. We have many clubs at the high school, and this is one that does a lot for the community. They collected non-perishable food items, hats, mittens, and scarves for the needy families, and added them to the NSCA baskets or boxes that were put together today. On Wednesday, you'll see it in the news. It is the event of the year with thousands of needy families stand in line down on State Street to get to go to the On Center for the Christmas Bureau, where they get food and gifts for their children. The children at North Syracuse or Cicero North Syracuse will tell you this is their favorite, helping people in our community that just don't have it. It's a wonderful thing what the Salvation Army does. On Saturday, they will be outside Walmart. If you were last time getting out there and do your shopping, they'll be ringing bells for the Salvation Army. They love doing that, and that will be on Saturday from 3 to 7. Tomorrow night at the basketball game, Dan, at the junior high, West Genesee girls against CNS. The Optimist young ladies, grades 3 through 7, will be honored by the varsity team. It's always a great event. And then last, Cookies with Santa at Main Street. 23 classes I read to on Friday and today with Santa. Those kids just look for, you watch them look at Santa the whole time. They don't take their eyes up. They don't care what book I'm reading. I love Main Street. I love the teachers there. I love the teaching assistants. I happened to be in the office signing in when they had a lot of teachers out today. No, those teaching assistants stood up and said, I'll do it. I'll do that room today or whatever. No problem. They're so supportive. And you know what? One last thing. And this one is very important to me. And that's the CNS boys volleyball team. As you know, they were number 1 in section 3. But over the weekend, 3 of the young men made the 2023 boys all Central New York volleyball team. Josh Luce, Carter King, and Jack Waite. But the one that really got me is Coach of the Year, my friend, Mike Lucia. And I know this is a little long, but I want you to read, when you read after each of the kids, they talk about the teacher that made a difference. And Michael made a difference for all 3 of them. So I want to read what John Lucy said, because this is Coach Lucy. Coach Lucia, has inspired me in many ways. I believe the most influential piece is his dedication and commitment to the sport. Coach Lucia has invested a great deal in developing the program at CNS and furthering boys volleyball in all of Central New York. He emphasizes hard work, but also puts a great importance on building strong relationships with his athletes and the members of the larger volleyball community. I also recognize and value how selfless Coach Lucia is. He regularly puts others before himself. He is someone you can always count on, both on and off the court. I greatly appreciate all he has done for me personally, my team, and Section 3 volleyball. He's a great man, a great person, and a great teacher. And that I will end. And I know I went over, sorry.
Okay, thank you very much. Others?
I just comment on
Yeah.
one of the things that Bob said. One of the things that we want to make sure that we're emphasizing in all of our activities is building character in all of our students that are participating, whether it be athletics, co-curricular, and some of the things that Bob read exactly are what we're looking for when we're engaging our students. So thank you for that.
Okay, Mr. Wills, you're up. You have something for us today, and congratulations.
Very much. So for today, I just wanted to say that it's very holly and jolly at CNS, and I've also heard it's pretty happy at the junior high too. You know, there's a certain kind of feeling that goes around these last couple weeks before break. I feel like it makes school a lot happier for some people that might not like it as much. One situation that got brought to my attention this past week was a friend of mine, Joe Seidman. He does graphics design for posters for the Humanities Club, Human Rights Club at the high school, and a website online editor that he's been using on the Chromebooks for about 3-4 years now was just recently blocked by the district algorithm. I don't really know too much about how it works. I'm pretty sure it is more of a selective basis. Sorry. Than actual algorithm. But basically the reason why I brought that up was because they were just looking to see if there was any way there could be a little bit more transparency on how and why, and also maybe like when the websites are blocked, because it would be nice to like kind of maybe a sort of change log or something of the like, so that we could see when, and like I said, maybe why some of the websites are blocked. Now, I think the reason why this one in particular was blocked is because they had added some AI features to the software, but I looked into it quite a bit myself, and there aren't actually any generative AI methods that could be used to, for example, cheat on assignments or something of the like. It's just something that it uses to help you actually edit the images that you already have that are your own. So yeah, just wanted to put that out there for today. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to routine action items. I look for a motion to consider the minutes of December. Like from Mr. Ludden, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Yep, you have. Okay, motion please to gather items B, C, and D. Rizio. These are the consideration classification of the disabled students for school placement, preschool, and home instruction. So B, C, and D are before us. Any questions? Being none, all in favor, opposed, and that item is carried. And acknowledgement of the business officer reports, a motion to place that before. Rizio. None, all in favor. Carried. Declaration of non-marketable surplus, a motion please. Motion from Mr. Herman, second from Dr. Kramer. Any questions? And the request to approve, excuse me. Answer the comptroller's. Second from Dr. Kramer. That is before us. Get an explanation in the Friday letter. Opposed, and that is carried. Resolution to abolish motor equipment operator and create maintenance worker two. That's item C. A motion put that before us. Mr. Ludden, second from Mr. Herman. Any questions on that piece? None, all in favor. Opposed, and that carried. We have retirements to acknowledge today. We have 4 of them. We have Carolyn Bowers, our teacher, retiring with 16 years of service. Christy Norton, special education teacher, retiring with 31 years of service. Denise Hogue, a school bus driver, retiring with 24 and a half years. Goldberg retires with 34.4 years of service. So you can see, this is the beginning of this. We'll start seeing more of these. Here, that's a lot of service right there. And normally I don't make a comment at this point, but I'm just going to mention, I don't want to slight anybody there, but I just want to put a mention. It saddens me. She's just somebody who is presented to us as a director. She's been here since she was a teacher. And, she brings passion to everything she does. She can show enthusiasm. It bubbles to the top. She could do presentation on cutting the lawn, and I would be enthralled with how she presented it. She's genuine, a genuine person. The only person that I've run into in the parking lot that can actually change my disposition for the day between when I was there and walked in the building, and it really happened. So she will be missed. And a motion, please, for instructional report A to place before us. Mr. Ludden, second from Dr. Kramer. Being not all in favor, opposed, that is carried. Thank you. Motion for sports staff personnel report B. Discussion? Being not all in favor, carried. And a motion for administrative personnel report. Discussion? Favor? Agreed. Second from Dr. Kramer. Discussion, all in favor, opposed. We are adjourned. Thank you.